Hello everybody, my name is Clive. I will teach a nice VINYASA flow class today to Melanie. Melanie is an old friend of mine and she's quite advanced. She's quite flexible and the scope of this class will be to do the splits, also called Hanumanasana in Sanskrit. I will be teaching a bit in Sanskrit. I will explain a little bit how to go into this deep stretch that everybody loves because it's very beautiful to do. Okay, so we're going to start the class right now. So best you start with your feet 10 centimeters apart and you ground yourself. That means you bring your attention down to your feet. You close your eyes for a moment and find the balance in your body. Once you find the balance and you find kind of yourself centered, you can start to breathe nice and deep into the chest. But it's also possible to breathe into the abdomen because both is fine in yogic practices. So again, nice deep breaths, feeling your feet, the soles of your feet, feeling the breath coming inside your body and coming outside your body. So because you want to quiet your mind before you start to get connected with your physical body. And after a couple of breaths, you can slowly open your eyes. And then you can inhale and stretch your hands up. You can look a little bit up and open your chest, and then you exhale and you bring your hands back down to tune into movement and breath. So inhaling, you stretch your hands up. And exhaling, you bring your hands down. When your lungs are completely empty, your hands should be down to your legs, thighs. And then inhale, reaching up again, feeling the lungs. And then exhaling, extending nice and long and opening the chest and feeling the breath going out of your body. And let's do one more. Inhale here. And then stay here. And when you exhale, you stretch your hands higher up and you pull your stomach a little bit in. And you keep pressing your feet down into the floor. And you feel both feet the same, equally pressing down. From here, you can grab your left wrist and then go to the right side and extend. But keep your hips nice and firm. Don't move the hips. And start to breathe really nice into the chest. So to create some space on the sides of the vertebra of the spine. After the last inhalation, when you exhale, you come back to the center and then you take a deep breath in, you extend nice and long, and then you go to the other side. And then once you're in the position, you breathe. And you feel also the difference between your left side and your right side. That's something really interesting to go into. When you feel both sides of the body, don't feel the same. Take a deep breath in again. And then exhale, bring your hands down. And again, take a deep breath in. So we're going to start to move a bit more intensively. Now bend the knees here and come forward and down. And then you can relax the head, feel your whole spine nice and long, and let gravity bring your body down. A nice thing to do is you can roll your thighs inwards a little bit so that the sitting bones go up. You relax your neck, and again, remember always to breathe, because no breath, no yoga. The breath is really the most important thing in your life, and doing asana or doing yoga or doing whatever else you're doing, because your breath will change everything, will change your awareness. So once you're here, you can bring your right knee back, place your knee down. If it hurts your knee in this position, you can always place something underneath your knee. You bring your hands to the hips, and now let the weight of your body sink down. and then breathe. Now, because we're going to do Hanumanasana, what we really want to open up is the quadriceps and a muscle called the psoas. If you don't open those two muscles, Hanuman will be pretty difficult. So once here, you can inhale, lift your hands up, and then when you exhale, you drop the body down. So you drop the hips down and you start to feel the stretch a bit more. So you really want to go to the end stretch of your muscles and there breathe and wait for the muscles to extend and elongate themselves. Take also ideal time-wise at the 30 seconds to 60 seconds per stretch. That should be the minimum. Then take a breath out, bring your hands down, and then place your right foot in the back, sideways, and relax your neck. Now here, bringing your left hip back will start to stretch your so-called hamstrings. Pushing the heel down will stabilize the back leg, and you try to bring the left hip from the front leg backwards, and the right hip comes more and more forward. And then you lengthen the spine longer. And then once here, you breathe nice and deep, as always. You never stop breathing deeply. Anytime you hear this, watching this video, just remember to breathe deeper and connect with your body as much as you can, especially with those parts of your body that you are stretching or elongating or strengthening. Then you inhale, you look forward, and you step forward with the back foot. And again, you just sink down again and you relax. You can bend the knees a bit if you're a bit tight on your hamstrings. If you're a little bit more flexible like Melanie, you can always stretch the knees. And then again, just feel the left side and the right side. You're tuning inside your body, into the sensations of your body and what your body is telling you. And then you bring your left foot back. Place the knee down. Place your hands first to your hips, to square the hips, so that the left hip goes a bit more forward. The body sinks down, and then you lift up the abdomen a bit. So that's when you start to activate the so-called psoas muscle, which is attached to the lumbar spine, and the quadriceps gets nice and long. Then once that's stable here, you inhale, you stretch your hands up. And that becomes a bit more challenging because now you got much more weight sinking down and the stretch gets more and more intense. And that's actually what you're looking for if you want to become more flexible. If you're just doing yoga because it makes you feel good, that's great too, that's fantastic. But if you want to increase your flexibility, you got to work a bit on it and you got to be constant. So more than one class a week for sure. And again, you extend, you lift up. And then at the same time, more lifting up, more down the body will go. And then again, the breath is all what it is. Then the last inhalation. And then when you exhale, you bring the hands down, you stretch the back leg sideways. You relax your neck, you bring your right hip back, your left hip more forward. And one thing which is not in classical yoga so much, but what is classical yoga, that's a big debate nowadays, is you relax your head, because your head is pretty heavy. And if you relax your head and your neck gets nice and long and it feels really good to the brain and to the blood supply and the information of the nervous system. And again, once here you breathe, you push back the right hip, you push a little bit forward the left hip, you extend down to the heel, you push the knee back, you can rotate the thigh a bit in, and then you pull the stomach a little bit in and you breathe more to the chest and you keep breathing nice and deep. And then you inhale, you look forward, again about 30 seconds per pose, and you step forward with the back foot. And again, now you just stretch down and you can deepen your stretch, elongate the spine. When the forward bend, it's nice if you pull a bit your stomach in and you breathe out more to the chest, because then there's a decompression to the lumbar spine, and the stretch gets deeper and stronger. And that's what we're looking for. Always trying to go to the limit of the stretch, to the end range. Because if you're not at the end range, you just start to think about the shopping or what you got to do next, and then you're a bit away from the yoga, which would mean to be right here, right now. Good, so we're going to go back to a pose which is called downward facing dog. So ideally you go into child's pose first, so you know the length of your hands and feet. So you want to extend your hands nice. Middle finger is looking at 12 o'clock straight ahead. Your buttocks are on top of your heel. The spine is nice and long. The neck is relaxed. Once you're here, you tuck down your toes. And then you push up your buttocks and you stretch. Now, most people will not do it this way. Because Melanie's been practicing yoga for many, many years. So you can always bend the knees a little bit, and then you can lift the sitting bones up, and you see the spine gets much more extended. The shoulders is also a lot of debates how to do it with the shoulders, but the ideal is when you put the shoulders away and you keep the shoulder blades apart and you relax the neck. Then you press the inner hands, the thumb and the index mold, you press so that goes nice and long, and then you can stretch the knees and press down the heels. But actually what we're always looking in yoga, and I would say to nearly all the poses, the most important thing is the spine. The spine is the central nervous system. The spine brings the whole information from the body to the brain and the brain back to the body. So that's just what it is. And those, if you believe more into the esoteric part of yoga with the chakras and nadis and energy lines, that's what to look for. So from here, this is there's another variation you can do. You can lift up your left leg. Now she's long time here in the pose. People that practice regularly can easily do this pose for 5 minutes. I've taught this pose sometimes for 10 or 15 minutes, people that were doing trainings with me. So you square up. You can also lift the hip up a bit. It's easier to do that. And then once you got there, you can put the foot down and then lift the other foot up. And again, the same here. You push the heel away. She's dorsiflexing the foot so that the muscle chain that we were going to use after for Hanuman is there. And then you keep breathing. That's the whole thing. You focus into the body, then back to the breath. Once, a couple of breaths, back to the body. And you're always going back and forth. Breathing, body, body, breathing. Then place your foot down. And then lift your heels up. Exhale, bring the knees down. And sit back into child's pose or so-called balasana. And again, just let the body sink. One thing, when you want to do strong or deeper stretches in yoga, you need to warm up your body. And now doing the child's pose too much will cool down the heart rate and the temperature of your body. And the warmer you are, the easier it is to go into deeper stretches, especially deeper stretches. For strength, you do not need that. So she's going to do another downward facing dog. She's going to lift up the left leg. She's going to exhale, bring the knee to the chest. And then she's going to place that foot between the hands, and then she's going to come up to high lunge. Also called Vishnu's pose in some old books. The funny thing about yoga is there's so many different books and they have different names and people are still looking for what is the right way and what is the wrong way. Well, I believe after years of watching and teaching and practicing and seeing masters, there's no right or wrong way. There's just different ways, and you can even call the poses different things. Again, lounge pose, the ideal here is you push back the heel. You tighten the knee, right hip goes a little bit forward, and then again you lift up and you bring strength here. Now this is quite intense, and really try to go to your limit. It will be much more rewarding if you come to your limit physically. And you will feel after even better. And then you will smile like she's doing right now. She's nearly dying, but she's still smiling because it's fun. It can be fun. Then you exhale, you bring the hands down, you come to high plank. That's called like a high push-up. Now, not everybody can do this for a long time or come down without putting the knees down. So I will show two variations. One, you go Chaturanga, you go down, and then you come up to upward facing dog, and she's not putting the knees down, so she's lifting up the knees. Then you exhale here to downward facing dog. Then lift the right leg up to the sky, and then bring the hip nice and straight, bring the knee to the chest, foot between the hands, and then you inhale, you reach up, and here the same story. So you're always lifting kind of a bit the abdomen, a little bit. Not too much you can't do because then you cannot hold the pose. Going back, I mean, she has a fantastic alignment. There's not much to correct here. Most people, unfortunately, it's not like this, but that's just the way it is. So again, you're pushing back the heel, nice and strong, knees lifting up, tightening the buttock, and lifting the chest. And then you bring the hands down. It was not as long as the other side, high push-up. So now we'll show you the variation with the knees. Now she can go with the knees down here and do exactly the same, the Chaturanga like this. And then you inhale, you come up to a cobra position, important shoulders go back, you lift up the sternum, and then you tuck the toes under, and then you go back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Nice, the Sanskrit names are really nice. They're a little bit hard to remember, so that is why we also gave them some different names. No, I didn't, but some other people did. Okay, now from here, bring your right foot sideways and your left foot forward and then you inhale, you come to up, you come with your body up, and you go to Trikonasana. You're gonna do Trikonasa, so you open the hands. You will see here now from the back, you want to have the legs really pushing down, and then when you exhale, you extend the spine forward, and you put the hand on the foot, and then you lift the other hand up. And again here, you want to push first thing, the feet into the ground, then you tighten the knees and you roll the thighs out. And then the other thing is you extend the spine and you have the feeling there's a wall here where my hand is, and you push back there so the stretch gets tighter, and then you keep extending up. Now, a tricky thing here is that usually the neck, many people tend to squeeze their neck up. So better you lengthen the neck and you lift more from the shoulder. And so you have less stress to the neck, so less head rotation. And then again here, you breathe nice and deep. And you feel, you really scan your body, like in Buddhist meditation, Vipassana, where you scan the body from the head down, and you do that by yourself. And then you inhale, you come up, and then from here you turn and you come to downward facing dog, so you see Trikonasana from the other side. So we're going from pose to pose, from downward facing dog, which is a good way to keep warm. And then left foot sideways, important first that, and then the right foot forward. Then you come up again, so you can stretch your hands up, elongate the spine, nice and long, shoulders back, push the feet down. Then when you exhale, you come forward nice and low, hold the hand down wherever it reaches. Some people will just come to your knee. That's fine, but try to really strengthen your legs down. So the more you push to the floor with all standing poses, the more energy, more strength will come up through your body. And that's actually one thing yogis wanted, is to bring the energy from down, from your lower centers to your higher centers. And then let's see what happens when everything's up in your head. Keep the breath nice and even. Again, pushing the feet down. Push the right foot down. Open the chest and breathe. Keep breathing. Again, the breath is really everything there is. Then exhale, bring the left hand down, step back to downward facing dog. And again, nice deep breathing, sensing the difference. Every time, after every pose, the body feels different because you've just opened different parts of your body. And after here, you bring the right foot sideways, left foot forward for Warrior One, Veerabhadrasana Ek, as they would say in India. So you're extending up, you're lengthening up. There's, again, many variations of every pose. But the classical, simple anatomical variations are my favorite because they're easier to do and you can dive deeper into your being while you're practicing physical asana yoga. And again here, nice. The left hip goes back a bit, you bend the knee a bit, you lift up again the pubic bone. That's the hardest part, believe me. You can also hold a little bit the root lock. The root lock is the pelvic floor. Then you're pressing back with the foot, the heel, and you're rotating the foot. Then you stretch the knee. You inhale, you extend the spine nice and long, and then you exhale and you bring the hands left and right of the foot. And again, you relax your neck. And you breathe nice and deep. Nice deep breath here. Now you can press your inner foot a bit more and you will feel it more in the hip. Here you can rotate your thigh a bit out so that this hip goes more back as we did before. And then we can inhale, stretch the spine forward and stretch your hands up. And we're going to warm up the legs now. So we're going to bring your hands back down. And then we're going to bend the front knee and we're going to lift this leg high up. So first you don't need to stretch the knees, that's fine. Keep the knee bent. Breathe, find balance, find gravity there. And then you start to stretch the knee, the standing leg knee, and then you start lifting, and here you point your toes up and you breathe. You can also help with one hand to the ankle, and then you pull down and you breathe nice and deep. Beautiful pose. She already has, this is Hanuman in standing, but it has another Sanskrit name. Ekapada Uttanasana, and again breathing here. The more you breathe, the better. And then place your foot sideways down where it was before, and then step back to downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. And yes, she will probably have a different feeling on her right leg and then her left leg. And then we let her rest a bit because that was pretty tough. And if you're doing this at home, I would like to see your face. So bring the left foot sideways, the right foot forward. We're going to go to Warrior One, Veerabhadrasana One. Quite a challenging pose, by the way. I'll show a different variation. The classical variation, as they do it in the old books, is they put the hands together, tough. Then they look up to the sky and they look for birds passing by, maybe, or some angels or whatever. And that's here. They lift the chest up and they breathe. And so here you push the hands together now. So this is the tough variation, the classical variation of Warrior One. Keep the breath nice and deep, nice and deep. Connect to your breath. Once you really got the breath, the mind calms down. You scan back the body. Then you exhale, you come forward and you stretch down first. And you relax the neck. You can relax here or keep tightening the hamstrings. But you need to do, in between the poses, you need to chill out for a moment because you cannot have the body in full tension for 60 minutes. It just doesn't work. Your nervous system won't do that. And you're going to come out of the class like this shaking, and your friends are going to ask you, did you have an espresso or something? Or why are you so nervous? Oh, I was doing yoga. That's not the point. The point is to be a bit relaxed. So again, we're going to breathe in, extend the spine nice and long, nice and long. Come up, please. No. Yeah. Again, we extend again here, lengthen the spine, and then again we go back down with an exhalation. Then you bend the front knee a little bit and you lift the left leg up or this leg. So now we have a different view and angle. She's going to go straight on with straight knee. She's going to point the toe. Always good to have a friend or a teacher or whoever at home that pushes your leg up. And again, you rotate the thigh in and you breathe. And you relax your neck, and with one hand you grab the foot and you pull yourself and you say hello to your shin bone. Again, she's very flexible. She can do that easily. Most of you at home will have a bit of a hard time, but you practice, and who knows, maybe next Christmas you'll be doing this. And then bring the foot sideways back and come to downward facing dog. And again, relax your neck. And take nice deep breaths. Again, go into your spine and try to calm the mind even though you are doing something with your body. Okay, now from downward facing dog, we're going to intensify. We're going to lift again the left leg, open up the chest more. Now she's going to bend the knee a little bit, open the hip and breathe here. So we're going to go deeper into the stretches of the hips to warm up even more so that when we do the Hanumanasana, things are going to flow straight and nice. Now bring the knee to the chest, place the foot between your hands. Then she's going to inhale back to lounge pose. And then you're going to exhale and put the right hand to the outside of your mat and the left hand up. And here we really want to connect again with that hip. We want to connect with the quadriceps in the back. And then we're going to breathe nice and deep. Then she's going to put the left elbow inside the foot. Put the elbows down and put the knee down. And she's going to extend the spine more and more forward. She's going to open that hip a little bit more. Again, this is pretty intense for your hip. And again, the breath, it takes a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, at least 10, till the body starts to readapt in the pose. And then you can intensify the pose. Then she's going to lift her elbows up. She's going to lift the back foot and then go back to plank pose. And then we're going to warm up a bit more. I'm going to do a Chaturanga as before. You can decide with your knees down or your knees in the air. Then inhale, upward facing. Now let's stay here for a moment, pushing the hands down, the inner hands, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest up. Many people look up to the sky here, but I don't really recommend that because that's not so good for your neck, especially if you do that a lot. So better to look forward and roll your shoulders back. This gives you nice strength to the body. Then exhale, roll the feet back, or you can jump to downward facing dog. Then you lift the right leg up, swing it, you bend the knee, you open the chest. And here, when you have one leg up, make sure that more or less both hands have the same pressure. That's impossible, but at least you try not to have everything on the left side now, but also a bit on the right side. So there's a nice twist to the spine. It will strengthen your shoulders, and it will open a bit your hip, and it feels great. It's a fun pose. It's a variation. It's a great pose to do. And then knee to the chest. Then you inhale, you come up. Then you exhale, you put the left hand to the outside of your mat. Again, this is also a more of a modern yoga variation pose. Probably invented in California, but also a great thing. Useful. Everything's useful if you move your body with a bit of awareness. There's so many different things you can do with your body. It's amazing. You could live for 1,000 years and find out new ways of moving the body. And it's good to connect with it because that's what you got. There's nothing else you have except your own physical body. Then bring your right elbow down. The knee comes down at the same time. And here you just let it hang a bit. Passive yoga, sometimes passive stretching. You give it a break. And you breathe. And you enjoy it. Also try to enjoy it. The more you enjoy doing this, she enjoys doing yoga. It's obvious, otherwise she wouldn't be doing what she's doing. The more you find joy in the movement, joy in yoga, joy in yourself, the more you're going to practice. The more you're going to practice, the more joy, more happy you're going to become. Sounds easy, I know, but it's not so easy. But do your best, find the joy in movement, find the joy in your body. That's my advice. Okay, lift your elbows up, high push-up, push the foot back. Now you can lift your buttocks up here a little bit, and then you can stretch your shoulder blades away, this part. This is a different variation, more modern, like in CrossFit, they do sometimes stuff like this. So really this strengthens the whole shoulder area. This will warm you up, this will energize you. Contracting the body will give you energy, lengthening the muscles will calm you a little bit. And then again, one Chaturanga, one upward facing dog, shoulders back, less with your neck, more with your chest. Push the hands down, lift the knees more and more up if you manage. And then roll the feet back and come to downward facing dog. The probably most famous pose in the yoga world nowadays. This is the pose, but it's a great pose. I love to do it. And everybody has a lot of benefits out of that because you really lengthen the back legs, you strengthen your shoulders, you open your shoulders at the same time. It creates movement in the spine that you usually never do. Again, a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to bring the right foot sideways, left foot forward for Warrior One again. And from Warrior One, we're going to go to a quite challenging pose. It's called Warrior Three. She's going to balance on the front foot, not yet, please. She's going to balance on the front foot. And this is quite challenging for the balance, but it's going to warm up your legs. It's going to strengthen your knees really good. And let's see how it goes. So take a deep breath in. Then from here, you exhale, you come forward. You keep the knee bend in the front, and then you start to lift the back leg. And then you start to adapt. So you lengthen your hands further forward. And if you can bring the right hip down, fantastic. And you look straight down. She's really looking straight down. You will see in some books that people look forward or they have their hands together. Not necessary, really not necessary. Now take a deep breath in. Exhale, put the hands down to the floor. Relax your neck. Keep the breath nice and even. So now by now the legs are pretty nice and warm. Stretching the knee a bit more. Then place that knee onto the mat, bending the leg into lounge pose. And then we're going to inhale and reach up nice and long. Now we're going to exaggerate. Now if you're very flexible in the spine, then you can exaggerate here. Now she's not dropping the head back, and that's how you should do it. Because if you drop the head back, the whole blood supply, nervous supply in the back of your neck gets jammed a bit. And you don't want to do that. Keep the breath nice and even. And then now from here, she's going to stretch the front knee. She's going to go back and she's going to come forward for preparation of Hanuman, because after this one, we're going to go full into this Hanuman pose. We've been slightly over half the class, and I think her legs are warm enough. And because it looks like she's sweating a little bit. So it's good to have blocks and stuff. For Hanuman, you can have 2 blocks or 1 to put underneath. But she doesn't need it, and I will show both ways. Now we will just go the traditional way, and the other side I will show with the blocks. So then we're going to inhale here. And then she's going to put the front foot to the front. Ideally, you put it away from the mat, because if you're a little bit sweaty, then this will slide better. And on the mat, it doesn't slide. So she goes slow. Always go slow into the pose. Now, you got something called muscle chains in your body. And the one starts here, the back muscle chain on your foot. So if your foot is relaxed, the stretch is not as intense. So if you really want to become more flexible, you have to tighten the end of the muscle chain. Then you go from the knee here, bring the hip back, and then you can put your hands down on the floor, and then you can work the back leg, which is the most difficult part. This is the back leg. That's the one that needs the most work. So this is this beautiful pose called Hanumanasana. I'm going to show different variations. An easy one, the more you have the body forward, the less weight is pushing down here. So that's easier. It looks more dramatical, but it's not. She can actually relax here. And again, stay always at least 30 seconds. Now, with such an intense pose, I recommend 1 minute at least. And sometimes you can repeat. You can do it 2 times in one class or in one day. The other variation, you can lift yourself up. And then you bring your hands together. And you extend up. So this is like the end pose. This is when you're quite flexible. And yeah. The most difficult part doing this is to keep your face nice and relaxed. So this is the way. And then there's other variations where you go back and you lift the chest up. And now I want you to go back and forward again. Try to come out of this elegantly. There's one nice way to get out of this if you're quite flexible. So you bend the knee and you bring the foot sideways. And then for a moment you relax and you leave some time for your tissues and muscles to readapt. And it's actually more elegant to come out like this. And again, always good if you have the teacher around or some friend that gives you some support with your hands. And always good to bring it quiet. So then from here, we walk our hands back. We step back to downward facing dog. And definitely the legs are in a different way. One side would feel very open. The other side will feel a little bit less open. So we're going to bring the left foot sideways. We're going to go right foot forward. We're going to go to Warrior One, Veerabhadrasana One, Warrior One pose. Again, nice and long, it's really about the spine. And again, the breath up to the rib cage. And once you're kind of stable and ready and you think you can balance on the front leg, so you come forward, you bring the weight to the front, you do like a bunny hop, and then again, now she's again, the hip is down, this is nice and straight, one long line. And this takes years of practice, years of commitment, years of enjoying practicing yoga or other physical activities, other sports. And then again, dorsiflexion of her back foot, ideally pressing the heel back, pulling the stomach in. Then exhale, bring your hands down to the floor, not too long. And then lifting the foot up, and again, nice and long breath. And once you're here, the leg is nice and warm now, ready for, as I would say, action. And then you put the knee back. And then you extend your hands forward. No. Then you extend your hands forward. And up. And you breathe here, nice, deep. And you really, now you try to open more this side, because this is the part which is more difficult. Now I'm going to take a block, if you have the block next, and she's going to do the Hanuman with the block. And then exhale, you put the hands left and right of the front foot, and then you stretch the front knee. No, just stretch the knee, and then press your hands flat. So now here she's again extending the hamstrings back, because she wants to open the hamstrings, the back side of your leg. And again, breathe. Again, here she's dorsiflexing the foot because of the muscle chain. Breathe deeper, Melanie, much deeper, much deeper. As deep as you can go. And that will feel amazing or great. And then you lift up your upper body. And then we can put the block, in case you're not so flexible, you can put one block, 2 blocks, and you extend the front leg. I'm going to show now on this side how to do it with the block. Some people will need maybe 3 blocks or a big pillow or whatever. And then here you can really adjust the hip. And you can always look back, so if your hip is about 10 centimeters away from the edge of the mat, make sure that the foot is also about 10 centimeters away so the leg is nice in one line. So here you can do all kinds of variations. You can inhale, reach up, and then exhale. You can also come forward and grab the foot and pull the foot back. And again, extending the spine, really. The more you extend the spine, the more the tissues and muscles of the legs, hips, or wherever you're working will relax. And again, now try really to breathe deep. As deep as you can. And the more you tighten now the leg muscles, the more stretching you will get. If you just relax like in a yin yoga style, you have less stretching. It has a different effect. Just that's the way it is. So I'm just going to take the blocks away. You lift up yourself so that you can see Hanumanasana from the other side. There's always one side which is better than the other side, but that's always like that. I haven't found one body that both sides were equally the same, because it's not possible. So again, here you can lift your hands up. You can bend the elbows, go back. And you can also do variations. I'm going to just show for a demonstration here. Now this is much more extended stretch. Looks good. The next level of challenge. There's always a next level of challenge. Never mind how long you practice yoga, how flexible you are, if you're in the Cirque du Soleil or just stretching because you love to stretch. There's different ways of challenge. There's always one step more. It's endless. There's no end to it. Then inhale, lift your hands up. Release the foot. Now I'm helping her. And then you can come forward with the body and then relax for a moment. I'll leave her a little bit longer here. And then she can just lift the upper body, bend the knee sideways. So you roll the thighs sideways, you bend the knee, and then you just come down for a moment and you relax. And again, you let her, or you just relax right now. Let the body have some space to adapt all these intensive stretches. And then from here, we want to walk our hands back. We're going to do the last downward facing dog. Again, just feel a bit, rescan the body. Don't need to push the body now. Just feel how you feel inside. What's going on? Where is your mind? Are you thinking of something else, or is sometimes emotions coming by? This or that. I'm not going to name any, because that would take you that direction. And then she's going to look forward and she's going to walk with her feet forward until she comes to a forward bend. And then she's just going to lie down and relax here as much as she can. And she's going to grab her elbows. And she's just going. You can also bend the knees. If you think you really worked really tough on your hamstrings in the back, you can just bend the knees and let gravity, let the weight of your upper body do it for you. Then you release the hands and you can roll the spine up. Roll your shoulders back, straighten your legs, and just center yourself for a moment. You can even close your eyes and again recenter your body. The back, the front, the left side, and the right side. And see what happened in this 45 minutes, 40 minutes into the class. It always changes, it never stays the same. Whatever you do, it always will change your state of being. And why many people practice yoga, in my opinion, is because it makes them feel better, it makes them more tuned and more clear in the moment, and it feels good in the body. And then here she's going to open the eyes. You open your eyes and you open your feet, mat width apart. A little bit more apart, yeah. And we're going to go into the squat to release a little bit. It's also called Malasana. To release a little bit the hips, the quadriceps. And it is also one of my favorite yoga poses. Very important pose for many things, which I'm not going to name here now, but this is a great way to release the lower back, the iliosacral joint. And it's also a nice way to center it. It is also said that there's some masters in India, some yoga teachers in the Himalayas, no, not teachers, yoga gurus, because yogis don't teach yoga usually, and that's their meditation pose. So again, this is a great pose to do at least for a minute. Some people will have their heels not down, so you can always put a blanket under your heels. You can always use a wall in the back. You can or hold yourself with your hands so that you can go deep. And with the time, what you want to do is to try and have a straight spine. Now, this is pretty difficult, and I haven't seen many people do that. And the other thing, if you want to challenge yourself more, you can lift your hands up to the sky and lean back, and then press your knees back. And then you bring your hands down inside your knees, you put the body down, and you relax a little bit here. This will create more stretch to your Achilles tendons, will create some stretch to your calf muscles here, and that's going to also help for your Hanuman with time. And then from here you can come down to lying on your backs. And again, you can bring your knees to the chest in Asana, this is called. Or reverse child's pose, nice, to just in between sink into it. I'm going to show a last beautiful stretch for your hamstrings. You can do this also on your own, just without doing a whole yoga class. And that will help also Hanumanasana, so you can place your right foot down on front of your mat and then lift the left leg up. Now, most of you will need a belt. Now, I'm going to show it with a belt because Melanie, as you see, she's pretty flexible. Most people don't come so far. So you can use a belt. You take the belt two ways and you hold the belt. So here you try to extend your elbows. So you don't want to bend your elbows, so you try to extend the elbows. Then you can also stretch the other leg on the floor, and you see most people are usually at 90 degrees. Their foot would be around here, and that's maximum. She has much more flexibility, and that's why Hanuman is easier for her, or she can do it, basically. It's not easy, she can do it, and or you cannot do it, or you do it. And then here you can go extend more. Now, depending on the angle, if you put the foot more out, it will stretch different muscles. You bring it more in, it will stretch other muscles. So the more in, the more you're going to work to stretch for Hanumanasana or for the split. And then she can do it, of course, without the belt. Both hands, please. Just take both hands. And then you can try and press down the sacrum. The sacrum is this bone in the back, which is down, and that's what it is. And then here again, breathe. This you can easily do at home. Just this stretch after running or after any exercise, after being in your office for at least 2-3 minutes per leg, at least. You can also repeat. Beautiful. Now take 2-3 deep breaths and let go and relax. Again, it's always nice to be quiet for a moment. Okay, and then she's going to bend the knee, press it to the chest. Another beautiful thing to do after this is same like Malasana. With the left hand, she will grab the heel and she's going to bring the knee down to the side of her body to extend here a little bit. And again, the angle, what is the right angle? What is the wrong angle? This really depends on your body type. But where you feel it the most, that's where you should go, because that's where the stretch will happen. And we all know there's a good pain and a bad pain. If it's pinching really like a knife in a joint or in the spine, that's the bad pain. But every other pain like this, oh my God, this is a bit tight, that is a good pain, and that's where you should stay. That's where you should breathe in, and then all of a sudden one day you will be able to go and work for Cirque du Soleil or wherever they will need a contortionist, if that's what you want to do. Okay, and then you release, you stretch the leg, and then you bring the other foot up. You bend the left knee as she did already, and she pressed the knee to the chest, and then you can grab. Now we're going to do it without the belt, and then you stretch the leg up first. Now, because she has this knee bend, it's easier. Now you want to toughen it, you stretch this leg. What you can also do is, you can put a wall here so you have structure here. And then you can start working with this here. Now she is holding the feet, so she can bend now the elbows to the sides because she can go deeper in it. The Indian way of teaching yoga in India, as I learned it years ago, the teacher would come and would give you the stretch. So you see she can go much deeper with my strength. And then this is a way. And you see the difference. With a bit of help, and she can still take it. Why do I know that? Because she's still breathing and she's still smiling at me halfway. And she can go even deeper. So just to give you a possibility, what is possible here. Now bring it up again. And again here, the angle, it's up to you. Probably you feel more when you put the foot more to the medial, to the center of your body. To the outside is a bit less. And then again, you're always pressing the sacrum down. And you try to have this leg stable. And then you bend the knee. And then you just, with the right hand, you grab. You can also put your left hand on the thigh here, and the knee goes sideways. And again, it's always great if you have a friend or yoga teacher and you work together, and especially if you want to become more flexible. And it's not that dangerous as people will tell you. Because if I help her here, for example, she can go much deeper into the pose. And she has to work less because she doesn't need to use her physical strength. She's using my physical strength. And then here, release. Knee to the chest, just the right knee. Again, just to relax again, to give some space to your body. And then you can place both feet in front of your buttocks. And just relax for a moment. Then we're going to breathe in and lift the hips up. And breathe out, roll the spine down. Now roll it round, 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 round. At the end comes the sacrum. And then you breathe in and you lift up. Up, rolling is much more difficult. It's not so important, but coming down. So you can do this 3-4 times. You can do this 10 times. You can do it 100 times. Exhaling, rolling down. Now in this pose, it doesn't matter if you're inhaling going up or exhaling going up. And then again, the other going up. 2-3 times, just to bring your spine back, your nervous system back to a kind of a space of calmness. So you can work really hard with your body, and then again you have to find the softness in it again. So you're working with the opposites, the yin and the yang, the Shiva and the Shakti, the masculine and the feminine aspect. And that's what yoga is about, these two aspects, bringing them together. Stretch the left leg, left hand goes to the right knee, and then you bring that knee to the side. This is really amazing stretch for your spine. Also really to let go. You can also close your eyes here. I usually don't tell students to close their eyes when they're practicing asana, but floor poses after a tough class, why not just to close your eyes and feel your body. The problem is closing your eyes, you start to space out somewhere in some dream space, and that's not very useful on the yoga mat. So here she can easily bring her knee down, and I advise bringing the knee down and touching the floor, never mind if the shoulder is up or not. So you can really work the shoulder down. And again, I can adjust, but you can do this on your own. And then you can release this. And then change sides, so you stretch your right leg with the right hand, the left knee, and then again she has the knee on the floor and she's pushing away here. It's a lengthening and a twist of the spine. Bring the shoulder down. You can put your hand up or sideways. This stuff doesn't really matter. It just changes the stretch of your shoulder. Remember, there is no guideline or Bible that says that is the way it should be. That does not exist. Depending on the angle of your body, you're stretching different muscles. And there's so many you can stretch. So it's good you try to stretch all of them as much as you can. And from here, she brings the hand back, the knee back. A nice way to get up, she can push herself up now to sitting, and she'll come to cross-legged position to finish this sequence. So you see the nice Sukhasana, it's called the easy pose. You put your hands on your knees. You don't need to do any mudras or anything like this, just to sit easy and relax. It's already a big thing for most humans. And once you're here, you close your eyes and you rescan your body again. You feel your feet, your knees, your hips, your abdomen, your pelvic floor, lower back, chest, shoulders, rib cage. You feel your arms. You feel your neck. And then you go with your awareness inside your skull, inside your brain, and you just connect with your brain. Good here to breathe down into the abdomen, to sink yourself down to your being. And then you usually realize that everything's just perfect as it is. And then we open our eyes. We bring our hands in front of the heart space for respect towards ourselves and other living beings, and the respect of the tradition of yoga, of different teachers that passed this on. And hopefully you feel now connected, you feel now energized, alive, and most of all in a good mood, in a calm, balanced, good mood, with a slight smile in your face. And then from here, exhaling, you bring the body down to the floor with gratitude. Gratitude is a nice thing to have always after a practice, whatever you're practicing. Be grateful for life and for what you have. And then you can roll back up and you lie on your back into something called Shavasana, or the corpse pose. And you relax your whole body. This is nice to have about minimum 5 minutes. You can do this 10 minutes. You can always rescan your body. Start with your feet, the weight of your legs, your hips. Feel the breath coming into your abdomen or chest. Feel your arms and your hands. You can go to one side, to the left side first. Then you go to the other side. And then you feel the weight of your head. That part of your skull touching the floor. And then you let the whole body relax. Here it's always good to have an extra timer, and you have like 7 minutes. And then you just relax 7 minutes. It's like a power nap. But what it also does, it relaxes and calms down the nervous system, and it brings down your heart rate. And I believe that after every yoga class you should do Shavasana, or after every strong physical activity. And that's about it for today, for this class. I hope you had a good time. I hope you try it out. And keep practicing. It's very rewarding. Namaste.